Hey guys! So this is finally the video you've all been waiting for. My van tour! Today I'm going to show you all the different parts of my van, how they all work together. If you have any questions, I've done videos on most of the individual components. So if you want some extra details, you can go back and look at those videos. Okay, so here we go. So this is a 2017 Chrysler Pacifica. I was originally in the market for a Sprinter van, but the salesperson showed me the Stow and Go seats, and that totally convinced me. And I'm really glad I went with a minivan. So here you can see my basic setup. I have my bed here, my couch, which turns into a bed, my swivel table, my flooring, and this is my bathroom. So first off, the heart of any build is how you decide to do your bed. So I have a couch that turns into a full-size bed. I have legs when it's in couch mode. These are kind of optional. Usually I don't have them down. And legs for bed mode. And it simply slides out. And now I have 4 cushions to lay on. So that's the main layout of the bed. When I'm in bed, I can also rotate my table up this way if I want. I can use this as a nightstand. If there's a second person, I can also take this table completely off. Or if I'm being lazy, I can even work from bed this way. So this table is super versatile. It goes in all different directions. I can put it away in many different configurations. So when morning comes and it's time to pack up, all I have to do is roll all my bedding to the back panel there. It stays rolled up, and the next night I roll it back out and put it on. I can put up my bed in just a couple minutes. So when it comes time to put the bed up for the day, I move this cushion out of the way, and I have slats that allow me to pick up the bed here. I can grab onto the slat, pick the bed up, flip out my legs, and voila, ready for the day. So here's, I think, the best feature of my van, and that is the space I have inside. So I have all this space to store things if I need to, or just feel roomy. I don't feel like I'm cramped. Here's the feature that made me buy the van, the Stow and Go seats. So normally the seats get mounted in the middle, and the second row here folds down underneath the seats. But if you take them out, then you have these big storage bins underneath. So I made this floor that lifts up in panels. So under this first panel, I keep my food. And I can get to this panel even with the bed down. So the bed leg, I made sure, comes to right on this panel. So I still can lift open this and get to it. Or I can even take it off like this when the door is closed, and I can prop it up against the door. Under the second panel here is more food. Now onto my third panel. Under here I store some things that I don't get to very often. Hand warmers. I have my shower. If you haven't seen my infamous shower video yet, go check it out. This is sort of my survival bag. I have a hiking first aid kit, and I have some rope, and a space blanket, and just some emergency items, sort of survival-ish items. And I have a car jump starter. If your car battery goes dead, you can jump your car. And I'll mention these little bags. A lot of spaces in vans are kind of oddly shaped, and it's hard to find a container that fits, and you end up with a lot of wasted space. But I bought these little, they're actually backpacks, You see kids using like little string backpacks. I like them because they're color coded. So I can make a list of like what's in the blue bag, what's in the purple bag, and I can stuff them in all sorts of little nooks and crannies. So I don't have to have a container that fits the space exactly. And in my fourth container, I have my batteries and all my power and everything. I also have a little cutout here where my solar charging cable comes out of, and this is my water tube. So for the floor, I kind of go from most used to least used. And anything I have to store, I usually store it over here. I don't have to open the battery panel very often. And when the bed is out, I have quite a bit of room up front too. Oh, and here's another really fun thing about the Pacifica. Are you ready? Watch this. Here we go. Ta-da! With a push of the button, the front seat has now gone all the way forward and the back has tilted forward using this little button right here on the side of the door. How cool is that? With a push of a button, I get like 2 more feet. And then when it's time to drive, I just push the button again and it goes back to my settings. Isn't that awesome? It's my favorite thing about the van, hands down. I know I keep talking about how much room I have, but from the seat to my couch, I have 4 feet and 2 inches. It might not sound important, and maybe it's not for you, but for me, it gives me this airy feeling in the van, and I have room to move around. I've even done yoga on the floor here. I think it's just amazing how much space you can have in a minivan. Okay, so here are a few more features of the van in the front here. This is my sink. I usually keep a sponge in it. And I have a USB faucet. So voila, running water. And I can just take this off when it's time to empty it. Take the bucket out, empty it out. Really easy. I can turn this around so that the faucet is facing this way if I want. And this is the feature that a lot of you have been waiting for as well. This is my toilet system. I have some baby wipes. I have a little bottle for liquids, a foldable funnel for said bottle. I have some poo-pourri, some deodorant spray. And I have some bags. These bags just go over here. They fit over the ring. And then the ring snaps it into place like that. So this actually never gets dirty. I never actually use this as a toilet. It's really just a seat. Inside here though is horse bedding pellets. And so I take a scoop of this and put it in the bag. So these break down and turn into a sawdust and absorb any liquid and things like that. Also, the benefit of the square box is I have some other little toiletry items in here. I can keep my bags over here. I can stash quite a few things in this little case. This works really nicely as a little handle here. And I'll put a link to this. This is kind of a hybrid toilet. I took 2 different ones that I used. So I'll put the links to those in the descriptions. But I can store everything away in here. Oh, probably the most important thing is the smell-proof bag. They're originally marketed for keeping smells away from bears, but they work fantastic for bathroom bags. So I can have this bag stored away. I usually don't store this in there. I usually just keep it over here by the door so that when I get to a trash, I can easily pop it out and throw it away. But this works great. So everything goes in there. The lid goes back on. And now I have a nice little ottoman that I can sit on, and it adds to the van instead of taking away from the van. Okay, so those are the features up front. Now for some features in the back here. This is a little laundry line that I have strung up between the two handles, and this comes in handy a lot. I normally don't take very many clothes when I travel, and so I'm usually washing my clothes every night, every other night, something like that, and I can just hang them up to dry. If I have a wet towel from using my shower, I can hang this up to dry, and it works really great. So these are my shelves. I keep going back and forth on whether or not I'm going to redo them. I'd kind of like to have like a really nice cabinet face, but for now I have my cook pot / coffee cup. So this is kind of a cool backpacking cup, and you can cook in it, you can drink out of it. It's really versatile. And I have another little bowl that has a cover on it, so if I have some leftovers, I can put a cover on it. And here I usually store some work items, maybe some clothes, things like that. I have a little bungee cord. And I get asked about this a lot. Why do you have a wristwatch on your cabinets, on your shelving? And the reason is, if I'm out boondocking and I don't have cell service, I don't have my phone on, and how do you know what time it is? So this is a nice battery saving way to have an alarm in the morning, know what time it is, that sort of thing. So it's my wall clock. And on this side, similar, but I only have one shelf here. This is my kitchen, essentially. I have my stove, pots and pans, some plates. This bag here is all of my cooking utensils, spices, that sort of thing. I've got my paper towels under here that I can pull out some paper towels. I've got a cutting board under here. So this is all my cooking stuff, and I just secure it with a bungee cord. So these shelves are sort of stabilized by this crossbar here. So this kind of keeps everything pushed up against the windows. And I have some little string lights wound around that I can just turn on and off with this little switch here. Okay, so that's about it for everything inside. Let's go around to the back and check out my storage. So in the back here, I also have a couch. I could sit back here and enjoy a good view if I wanted, but normally I have all my bedding back here. This is also where I put my window coverings. This is kind of my big stash space. I can throw everything back here and the front still looks nice and clean. So under this panel here is my storage. Let me show you what I have inside here. So I have a gas generator, and I have about 15 gallons of water. I have a camping tent, some car emergency supplies, that sort of thing. And I can get into it this way, and I can also get into it this way. For example, these are my snow socks. Instead of tire chains, you can get these snow socks. Let's see, this is an electric blanket, a drinking water hose for filling up my water. So this is my water tube, which comes from this container under the bed, under the floor, and then back out to my sink. And here you can see how I've got it connected. I just threaded it through the faucet, and the tube rests inside. And there's just a little bit of air escape, so it leaves a little bit of vent so that it keeps pumping. These flexible cubes are really nice because I can squeeze them in these small spaces. I have a big storage under here, but the access to it is a little bit small. So it's nice to be able to contort the water cubes however I need to get them in the space. So I'm not even taking advantage of all the space in here. It's really huge in the back. And this is something else that is really important that not a lot of minivans have apparently, and that is a spare tire. So it's a deflated spare tire, but this is also a compressor, which is pretty cool that I've got a compressor in the car if I ever need it to just air up my tires. It normally has a cover over it, but I took the cover off because there's not much, but there's a little bit of stash space in here. I have a couple little things sort of stashed in the corners here of the tire, and I like to be able to get to this compressor easily. So I just left the cover off. For the front seat, I keep the front seat pretty clean. If I'm camping in a city or something like that, I want to keep the front cab as clean as I can. If I ever have anybody riding with me, that sort of thing, or snacks for the road trip. If I'm going on a longer trip, sometimes I put my folding bike in the front here, and I'll put a cooler on the seat. But generally, this front stays pretty flexible however I want to use it. So I think that's about it for the tour. Hit the green subscribe button to be notified of my next videos. And if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the comments below. I try to go through and answer as many questions as I can. And yeah, thanks for tuning in, guys. I'll see you on the next one.